Air Sport app, allowing you to cast your favourite sporting action from your tablet or mobile phone straight to your TV.
This is News Talk.
Hello there and welcome along to Monday Nights Off the Ball. It's Joe here. We have Shawnee McGrath and Tommy Dunn looking back at the weekend's hurling. Very interesting in Munster. We have Enda McGinley, who did watch Tyrone against Monaghan in full. I know lots of us couldn't. Pat Nevin talks to us about one of the great FA Cup finals, I think. Plus Shane Jennings and Rory O'Connor on Leinster Munster. It's all on the way. Text number 53106. We're on Twitter at Off The Ball. Richie is here. Hello.
Nobody even had the energy to pipe up and dispute that one.
No.
It was like, come on.
No,
we all know it was gash.
And Kevin Kilban.
Hi, Joe.
Who was at the FA Cup final. And interestingly, you were just talking before we came on air and you were making the point that as you walked up Wembley Way, soaking it in, the admiration of the fans, the love of the fans, I mean, not the general atmosphere, that fans talking to you were coming up and saying things like, well, either way, it's going to be a 1-0 drab kind of affair. It's just a case of who wins 1-0. And they weren't wrong.
No, exactly what it was. Most of the United fans I'd spoke to, it's like, it's Jose Mourinho. We're going to win 1-0 if we're going to win. And Chelsea fans pretty much said the same thing. It's going to be 1-0 either way, whatever it'll be. And lo and behold, we got that 1-0 classic, didn't we? One of the classics of our time, was that what it was?
So saying that and not very excited about the whole thing?
No, there was obviously the buzz around the FA Cup final. There is that buzz still, you say when you're walking up Wembley Way, and you do get that buzz, don't get me wrong, you go to Wembley and it's an unbelievable stadium, it's great to be there, but it was just that was the feeling from both sets of supporters. So if they're turning up for the game like that, are they going to be on that huge high when they're going for the, which essentially most of the people that I would have spoke to would have been the showpiece or the showcase of their lifetime or their year, should I say. The FA Cup final was always the main game. And it goes to show how far we've probably gone away. That's the thing, isn't it?
And it turned out that way. Like, both sets of fans were right. Now, Chelsea won the race for that first goal and then effectively said, right, 5 at the back, then forward, then come and break us down.
Yeah.
And Manchester United couldn't. Mourinho said afterwards, and this has been the subject of much discussion and mockery since, without Lukaku, we have no presence. Without Fellaini, we have no presence. His general point after the game was, well, I didn't have Lukaku, I didn't have Fellaini.
Yeah.
There's no way to win the game without those types in there. I can't lump it into Bill Sanchez.
And he also criticised Chelsea for being one-dimensional and predictable.
9
in the
men
sense
behind
that
the ball.
9 men behind the ball and they were going to be physical up front through Giroud. So you're like, well, what way do you want it, Jose?
Yeah. Well, if United, you spot what you're saying, they got the goal, Chelsea, so they played like that. If United would have got the goal, it would have done the same pattern the other way without, that is the thing, two great clubs that were in the final, but you would have loved to have had a City there, a Liverpool there, or a Tottenham, because it would have been more open and they would have been more attack-minded.
You've taken the two teams out of everyone's mouth, so you've got the Champions League top scorers and the league top scorers, neither of whom have a Fellaini or a Lukaku and somehow seem to manage at times. I know Liverpool didn't overly at Stamford Bridge recently, but they can score goals. Like, at the very top level of football, this is literally Jose Mourinho, the winningest of managers, saying, well, I didn't have a big lad today, so what could I do?
And the players that he's got that essentially have gone backwards this season. You look at Sanchez, look at Rashford, look at Martial. Martial came on, kind of made an impact on the game, I suppose, when he came on.
Rashford's getting worse by the week.
He is, yeah.
His confidence is on the floor.
His confidence is massively. And he's still a kid.
Remember how confident he was when he first started?
Yeah, I know.
Mourinho has systematically destroyed him. He now uses Rashford as there you go, these are the points I'm trying to make.
No, I know.
Kind of he's like an example of what, he's vindicated every time Rashford doesn't play well.
Exactly, and he's made the point 2 or 3 times. Look, well, I'm seeing these lads in training, so I know what they're like, but all the word coming out of Man United when Rashford broke into that side, yes, we could clearly see it on a match day how good he was, but like training-wise, he was just sensational.
He's an instinctive kind of player.
Yeah, he was doing things that, many others can't do or could never do. And now all of a sudden...
The life has been coached out of him.
Yeah.
That's what there's a great quote from Rob Draper. This is the one I was trying to find for Joe yesterday, and I managed to squeeze it up here now, saying, as for United, talking about the defeat on Saturday, defeat reopens all the existential questions that dogged Mourinho's reign. They have improved is undeniable, but just where they are heading is still unclear 2 years on. If they are a side constructed to win rather than entertain, then that is an identity, but it does require a final victory. Ultimately, without that, it becomes meaningless.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up.
It is.
Well, I knew to press panic when Eamon Holmes tweeted 22 hours ago. Eamon Holmes, Kev. Yesterday wasn't just a defeat. Yes, you do. Growing disquiet in the Manchester United dressing room against Mourinho is the word. The glum one is treading a thin line. Now, Eamon Holmes has the inside connection there at Manchester United. That for me was when I thought this.
So you follow Eamon Holmes in there, yeah?
I saw someone retweeted it. Sorry, I saw it somewhere.
Joe has to follow all the greats of light entertainment because that's his trajectory now in life.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
He's going to go on to...
It is, yeah.
He's going to be presenting the quiz show by the end of 2018.
It is. You follow them all.
Eamon Holmes does have connections, and he was saying growing disquiet in the Manchester United.
So you want to be the showbiz reporter for this morning, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's the dream.
We cross over to Joe, who's live on the red carpet at Cannes.
They can't be thrilled.
Look how he dismisses it. He just totally dismisses that sort of.
They can't be thrilled with the way they're being asked to play, or what people are saying about the team, or the way Mourinho's behaving. Miguel Delaney was writing today, and obviously Mourinho's gone through. Usually his second season is a very good season, and third season is where the strain of having to work.
Is it right? This is the first season he hasn't won a league title in the second season. Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Or within his first two.
The strain of having to work under him and the atmosphere he creates, and like I mean, it's even I feel talking about them every week. It's just so negative all the time, and he's either attacking Rashford or there's the Luke Shaw stuff. So you've had what's supposedly the sweet spot of the second season. We're now going into the third season. Eamon Holmes is saying there's just quiet in the dressing room, Kev.
Right.
Don't make me repeat that again. And I just don't know. We'll get into it, Pat Nevin on the football show.
The excitement. And one thing I have actually brought, we've got the FA Cup, we've got the programme, so this is a new one for the office here, so for the studio here. So that's...
There's listeners on the radio who don't know what you're holding up.
Oh, yeah, it's the FA Cup final programme.
There you go.
FA Cup final programme from the weekend.
Just £10 sterling.
Yeah, 10 quid, I thought.
That is
Rich, that's
extortionate.
Richie is the man of the people, and
I am, yeah.
Unlike you, Joe. But...
Joe's above all that now.
Yeah, that is I saw it for a tenner. I was like, unbelievable. Tenner for a programme.
Any good insights in it?
Goodness. I opened it, and the first page that came on was an interview with Mourinho, and the standout quote was, "This is a very important trophy to me." And so I didn't continue.
I want to read the rest of that.
Yeah, Romelu Lukaku says, "I've scored goals. It's been one of my best seasons."
Didn't want to play on Saturday though.
Yeah, so there you go.
Are programmes generally any good? Like Premier League ones?
Sometimes the manager's quote, sometimes on the general ones, you might get something in the programme. I think the more reluctant to give the papers that some stuff that they maybe give their own in-house stuff. I think they maybe feel a bit more relaxed. And usually how it is done at times as well, it's written for them, it's proofread by them and then given back. So you would have thought that, so the match day programme, sometimes you get the odd little nugget in there really, but...
Dundalks are always top class, I tell you.
Are they?
Stephen Kenny's programme notes are just exceptional.
Are they?
Yeah, they cite anything and everything. He's got a great world view, has Kenny. So he kind of brings all that into his football view, yeah.
Philosophical, sociological commentary weaved through the football.
Yeah,
he makes an effort with his pre-match notes.
Yeah, very good.
He does. He really does.
Very good. Yeah.
But in the main, they're not great in your experience. The Premier League.
Well, it's great. I think it's the great little souvenir things, aren't they? I think that's the thing. It's great to have. You got a cup final programme and things like this.
But they're organs of the club at the end of the day.
Yes, exactly.
Fanzines are always going to be the better thing.
Definitely, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Definitely.
Text in, lads, just back from sunny Barcelona. The new camp was great fun last night for the final game of the season, says Shane in the airport.
Yeah, some great pictures of Iniesta, wasn't there?
They're heartbreaking.
It was just great stuff, wasn't it? Was it 2 hours after full time, and he still sat there on the pitch and in his gear, not changed,
barefooted.
Yeah, it's great, isn't he? I mean, he's my favourite anyway. We've had this chat the other week when we were great money. I just think we missed so much because of what he's brought and how he played. I just think he's just
he's too young to be going off into semi-retirement. 34.
I mean, we've been talking about him maybe on the wane for the last couple of years, and has he been able to play? I still feel he could probably do a job, if you said whether it's at Barcelona or just limit the amount of games you're playing, limit the game time and get the most out yourself, because he clearly this season when you've seen him, he can still do it, but he just feels as though it might be best to move on.
We will start a news round. We are here with Air, the home of Air Sport. Get amazing live sporting content free with Air Broadband. Richie, you're starting with a legendary retirement. Yeah,
tributes from across the breadth of the Irish sporting landscape pouring in all day for Rena Buckley, who's announced her retirement from intercounty action. The 31-year-old won a staggering 18 All-Ireland titles for Cork's football and camogie sides during a dazzling career. Over the weekend, she told The Independent that she wanted to give more time over to the people in her life. With her 11 football and 7 camogie All-Irelands and umpteen All-Stars as well, Buckley is the most decorated inter-county player in Gaelic Games history.
That's just outrageous, isn't it?
It is outrageous.
It is outrageous.
We'll try and talk to her at some stage over the next week or so, yeah. And just
30, just 31 career as well. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Leaders Dundalk playing host to third place Waterford tonight, one of 3 games in the SSE Airtricity Premier Division. Elsewhere, Derry City looking to halt their losing run, which has seen them concede plenty of goals as well. Bottom side Bray are visiting the Brandywell, and there's a Munster derby at Markets Field with Limerick playing host to Cork City, and Cork boss John Caulfield is predicting a tough night for his side.
Limerick have proven very difficult team for us. Played them a number of weeks ago. You know, Josh got a late winner. Played them early this season, 1-1 draw. Last year got beaten up there. So our last 2 visits to Markets Field haven't been good.
All 3 games kick off at 7:45 tonight. Staying on League of Ireland tip, and Bohemians goalkeeper Shane Supple has been called into the Republic of Ireland squad for the first time for friendlies with France and the USA. Manager Martin O'Neill is without Darren Randolph, Kieran Westwood and Rob Elliott for the 2 games, and Colin Doyle started yesterday's testimonial draw with Celtic at Parkhead. Supple impressed O'Neill when the manager watched Bows defeat to Dundalk just this past Friday.
Yeah, amazing. Fair play to him.
Brilliant, yeah. There's a few Bows fans in the office that are happy with that today, so yeah. It's great. No, it's great. I think it's great for him. He has got so much experience behind him as well. I couldn't really say on how good he actually is, but I think it's great for him. And speaking to lads who would tell me he's had a great spell of it. So
top 2 or 3 in the league for me.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, especially, has not had a brilliant season this year. To be quite honest, started not great, but warms up as he usually does, but still hasn't reached the levels he was in the last year or 2. That's just from my point of view anyway. No one conceded a penalty against Bray in recent weeks too, so but overall for the last few years that he's put in, absolutely deserving of a place and a call up at least.
Hi Joe and lads, can I get straight to it? What on earth has happened to Tipperary hurling? We made the Limerick half-back line look like all-stars. 5 points from play. It was tough to watch. 5 debutants, both midfielders taken off. No puck-outs won in the second half. I have never been so depressed leaving a game as I was yesterday. I don't see where we can lift this for next week, says Bobby in Castleconnell. Yeah, I'm incredibly disappointed for Tipperary, and suddenly next week is feels like must win, and the whole season's hanging by a bit of a thread. So we'll talk. I'll put that exact text, Bobby, to Tommy Dunn, who's on with Seanie McGrath in the next 10 minutes or so, and see what he makes of it. Yeah, that hanging by a thread motif is one that's definitely held by James O'Connor. Michael Ryan's side began their Munster Championship campaign yesterday with a 123-214 loss to Limerick at the Gaelic grounds. Afterwards as well, we discovered that the Premier have implemented an all-out media blackout until the round robin is completed. And with games to come in the next 3 weeks against Cork, Waterford and Clare, James told OTB AM this morning that Tip's depth will be tested severely.
Yeah, look at their backs are to the wall now. They're in a corner. But I mean, I fancy them. I still think, with the forwards they have, I thought with their best 15 on the field, I still thought that they'd go to the Gaelic grounds and get a result yesterday. That was until Friday night, and then the team is announced, and you look at the players who aren't on it, and you have Seamus Callanan didn't play, Bonner Maher didn't play, Brendan Maher apparently pulled a hamstring the previous week. Carl Barrett, Mickey Cahill, long-term injuries. James Barry was dropped. Michael Breen didn't play. And you're looking at 5 starters and you're saying this is Limerick's to lose now, because with the team Limerick have picked, big half forward line, big half back line, they found a couple of players in their inside forward line. I'm wondering just can Tip genuinely good enough to beat them now, because in the league final the depth they thought they had acquired probably wasn't there, and it didn't surprise me that Limerick pulled it out last weekend. But Tip now, they're in a corner, Ger, and sometimes when things are going really well, that's when you get caught. And yeah, they've got to come out fighting now. But look at this massive experience in that dressing room, and their year is hanging by a thread now, because if they lose next weekend, they've Waterford and Clare. They're playing Waterford, who it's Waterford's second match. It's in the Gaelic ground. It's not as if it's in Thurles. And then Clare go in coming off the bye into the last game when Tip will be playing their 4th game in 21 days, whatever. So Sunday is D-Day for Tipperary now, and it appears to that he's got to get some of those experienced players like Callanan back on the field. Yeah, James O'Connor speaking to Jaron Owen this morning on OTB AM live, 7:45 every morning, as you know, at this stage on all our social channels. Tommy Dunn and Seanie McGrath will keep the discussion going in about 15 minutes time. Lads, as a Tipperary, Munster and Manchester United fan, please be gentle.
Lucky.
Give me some hope in one of those teams. Man United, no hope at the moment. It's miserable. Jose is going to destroy them next year. That is on the record.
Jose says it's progression though, Joe. He's got them to 2nd in the Premier League.
It's miserable.
Was it 81 points he got this season, whatever it was? Brilliant stuff.
Munster, it's a long wait now until next day out.
So it is for United as well, to be fair.
Yeah. So Tipperary are your only hope.
And
and things are looking a bit scary at the moment. Yeah. And when you factor in last year, I mean, really last year they never got going at all. It was just that Galway game where they managed to just scrape their form together last minute. But on the whole, if you include what we saw yesterday, then it's been a bad year really for Tipperary, and they definitely need the big shots back out in the field one way or another. I don't know what's going on with Callan, how fit he is or isn't. I mean, you look at Galway last year, it was Barry at 3, Ronan Maher 6, Paddy Maher 7. I'm not sure why they switched yesterday. You had Brendan Maher in midfield. I don't know how his hamstring is. James, you mentioned it there, and then Seamie Callan. I mean, you kind of need the majority of that spine back for next week, if at all possible. So we'll talk to the lads in about 10 minutes' time about the hurling. And there was a really bad injury in that game, in the Cork-Clare game as well.
Robbie O'Flynn expected to make a full recovery after he was taken to hospital following a heavy collision in yesterday's win for Cork over Clare. The Erin's own man is believed to have suffered a concussion following an incident that held up play for 9 minutes at Porky Queeve yesterday, but the signs are that he is okay. Speaking of injuries, Mayo say that Tom Parsons is remaining upbeat after undergoing the first part of 2 stages of surgery on his injured knee. The midfielder suffered a dislocated knee and suffered serious ligament damage in last week's Connacht quarter-final loss to Galway. Parsons will now undergo further rounds of surgery, specialist visits and rehabilitation, and has conveyed his gratitude for all the support that he has received from all corners as well.
Extra tough as an amateur to come back from these kind of injuries. You pampered types just went home and rested up and got the best physio and the best everything, whereas this guy has to keep his life going over the next year as well.
Yeah, exactly. That is the thing, isn't it? That is the thing we suffered. We wait for that swelling to go down as well before they can do anything. That is the thing, isn't it? It can because imagine.
Well, it's a step down from Parsons' level it's a step down from Parsons' level, obviously, but lads who play for their local club or Leinster Senior League, like this notion that even say a cruciate injury is straightforward now. It is at your level. Yeah, it is at the top level. Yeah. It's still seriously bad if you're of a lesser level, because it's just how often you see the physio, how good is your rehab?
It's true. Yeah. It is true.
My point is you're pampered. That's just what I really want to emphasise that.
You may have a point. You may have a point. I was fortunate I didn't get any major knee injury across my career, but you're right. You're right. I can't. But the thing is now we play like now. You play the odd game now and once a year. Yeah. No, but we do. And you think now you're playing on the 5, the 7-a-sides, 8-a-sides, whatever it would be, and the amount of lads we're playing, we're not physical. It's all about the passing game, Joe. You know how that is. But
silky. Yeah,
but if you get 1 or 2 lads that are overzealous, going in with 1 or 2 of those challenges, you get them. Broke my foot the other week. That was a thing. What 6 weeks ago now as well. That's what can happen now when you're playing. It is, and it's like, come on, lads. I don't need that.
I got work in the morning.
Who did that again?
What?
Who did that again?
Have you named the culprit publicly? No,
he hasn't.
Okay, fair enough. That's his prerogative. Johnny Sexton, it looks like, is going to be fit.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Of course, he missed Saturday's semi-final win in the Pro 14 over Munster with a calf injury. Isan Asewa.
By the way, it was in a charity game that Kev's foot was broken maliciously right at the death when his foot was hanging out there and the ball was long gone. That's the context.
By an unnamed Northern Ireland player.
That's the context.
The out half, Jonathan Sexton, of course, missed Saturday's semi-final win over Munster with a calf injury. Isan Asewa being given every opportunity to recover from a calf injury of his own ahead of Saturday's clash with the Scarlets at the Aviva. Dan Levy is nursing a hamstring issue, but Robbie Henshaw looks like missing out yet again with the same knee injuries that he sustained in the Champions Cup final win over Racing. Plenty of World Cup squad news knocking around as well this evening. Rajan Nangolan has announced his retirement from international football after being left out of the 28-man provisional Belgian World Cup squad. Chelsea pair Alvaro Morata and Marcos Alonso left out of the Spain World Cup 23. Valencia's Rodrigo and Iago Aspas joined Diego Costa as the 3 strikers in Julen Lopetegui's chosen 23. And Paulo Dybala included in Argentina squad for Russia. Inter forward Mauro Icardi is the major omission from Jorge Sampaoli's 23-man panel.
Okay, Richie, thanks very much. So we're talking rugby. After 8, we have Shane Jennings and Rory O'Connor in talking Leinster, Munster. In the meantime, Dublin fans, Offaly fans, Clare fans, Tipperary fans, this won't be pretty. We're talking hurling next.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
In association with the Air Sport app, allowing you to cast your favourite sporting action from your tablet or mobile phone straight to your TV.
News Talk Breakfast.
This Thursday, 1 day before the nation goes to the polls on the 8th Amendment referendum, we'll be giving you a final chance to hear from both sides of one of the most intensely contested referendums in recent decades.
News Talk Breakfast will have one of the last debates to be heard on